Hi everyone, this is SAT vocabulary list number 11. Please take notes, Cornell notes, and make any annotations as we go along kind of in the sidebar about root words or examples or explanations that I give that'll help you remember these words. And feel free to stop the recording at any time if I'm going too fast. The first word is abstain, and to abstain it's a verb, and please note the parts of speech as well. Is a verb, and it means to keep oneself back or to stop oneself from doing something, using something. Usually people abstain from something that is considered kind of unhealthy or improper. So an example might be, here's this sign of all the things you can't do. A lot of times if you go to the park or you go to a campsite, they'll have signs of things you need to abstain from while you're there. These are activities that you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to keep yourself from doing while you're in this particular location, either because it's not good for the environment where you're at or it's not good for you personally. The second word is affluence, and affluence is a noun. You'll often hear affluent with a T. That describes someone. It's the adjective form of this word. Affluence is to have or to possess an abundance of riches. So a synonym for this word would be wealth. So if you have affluence, you have wealth. If you are affluent, you are wealthy. Okay, so the two different words, same root, different ways they're used. So these are people who are affluent, who have affluence. They don't need to worry about paying their bills at the end of the month. These are the kind of people who, they have mansions, they've got lots of cars, boats, tons of money, money to excess. Third word is coerce, and to coerce is to force someone to do something, to compel them into action, usually through like intimidation or through authority. So if you're an authority figure, police, you can make someone do something, or if you're stronger or bigger, then you can intimidate them and make them do something. You can also be coerced in more subtle ways. So your parents can coerce you into doing your homework with the threat of, hey, if you don't get this done, you don't get to hang out with your friends, you don't get to play video games, etc. Number 4 is distraught. And to be distraught is to be so deeply upset, usually in an emotional kind of way, that you're distracted, you're bewildered. And so if you lost someone really close to you in your family, they died, you would probably be distraught, so upset that you're kind of just out of it. You don't want to get out of bed. Maybe you don't even know what day it is. You're really extremely upset. And I have this picture of this little boy, clearly looks distraught, and it made me think of like little kids. Almost all of us have that moment when we're young where we're with a parent at the mall or at an amusement park or wherever in a store, and you look around and your parent's not there and you're totally distraught, like you're emotionally upset, you can't find them, you feel lost, you feel bewildered. 5 is fluctuate, and this is a verb, and it means to change. Really, that's the basic meaning. But the SAT definition says to pass back and forth irregularly. Remember, root word meaning not, so not regularly, from one state or degree to another. So what does this mean? It means to change kind of at an irregular interval between one thing and another. I often hear the word fluctuate or fluctuation in terms of people's weight. So there's some people who tend to gain and lose weight kind of easily, or people who kind of, they'll go on a diet and they'll lose weight and they'll go back to their other, type of eating and they'll put on weight. And so they fluctuate. They go back and forth between one weight and another weight. You'll also hear, the temperature fluctuates. It goes from one extreme weather, it's really hot one day, and then it gets really cold. And now with climate change, we're definitely seeing a lot of weather fluctuation. Number 6 is indulgence, and indulgence might be a good antonym for abstain. So when you indulge, and to indulge is the verb form of this word, indulgence is a noun. So indulgence is the act of yielding to an inclination, to a passion, a desire, or a propensity in oneself. And so usually we think of an indulgence as like a splurge. So, let's say you normally wouldn't eat sugar or a lot of ice cream, and you're out at maybe a park or you're in an amusement park or you're at a fair and you decide you're going to indulge in ice cream, something you normally wouldn't ever eat. You're yielding, you're giving way to kind of that desire to have something really yummy. That's why it's the opposite of abstain, which is to, not give way, not to yield. So here's an example. It just made me think of my two small kids because I definitely don't let them eat ice cream. It's so rare. Usually we all abstain from the ice cream because of the sugar crazy making factor. But once in a while, it'll be an indulgence. They'll be in a special place. They'll get to have it maybe at the fair. Number 7 is laborious, and I underlined the word labor because labor is to work, and the word laborious describes something that requires a lot of work, a lot of energy, exertion, and usually perseverance, which is, to persevere is like to push forward in the face of some kind of opposition or challenge. And so something that's a laborious task really takes time, it takes work, it takes energy. So for some people, cleaning their room might be just a laborious task because they've got stuff stored everywhere and kind of, stacks of things. For other people, writing an essay might be a laborious task because it takes a lot of time. It doesn't come naturally. So it's just whatever it is that requires a lot of work, a lot of energy. I chose this picture because men shoveling snow manually with these little shovels looks like a laborious task that I would want no part of, that's for sure. Number 8 is nefarious. This is a fabulous SAT word. It's important to note that it's spelled with an F and not a PH. And someone or something that is described as nefarious is wicked in the extreme. So wicked, evil to the core. And so, a lot of characters from fantasy in books and things are described as nefarious. But there's also, if you think about, and then maybe you're out late and a lot of people are fearful of going out and walking at night because who knows if there could be some kind of nefarious person lurking or a nefarious plot to kidnap someone. And so I have this man in the dark and he looks kind of like he could be up to no good. 9 is ponder, and to ponder is to really think about something deeply, to meditate on it, to reflect on it, so to think really deeply. And a lot of times people ponder big questions like, why are we here? What's the meaning of life? These are not questions with easy answers. So, she's at the park with her Starbucks and she might be pondering, gosh, why am I here? She's probably not going to work it out at the park with her Starbucks, but she's thinking about it. She's pondering, whatever she's pondering, right? Whatever she's thinking about really deeply. 10 is relevant. We had the opposite of relevant in an earlier list, irrelevant. Remember, IR, meaning not relevant. So this is relevant. And it describes something that bears upon, it has bearing, it's connected with whatever you're doing, whatever the matter at hand is. So if something's relevant, it's connected to, related to, it pertains to what you're doing. So right here I have a picture. Imagine you're a big fan of something. Maybe you go to a conference to learn more about it, or you go to some kind of a a showcase and you're talking with someone. What they say is relevant because you're interested in it. You have a genuine concern or fascination or passion for this topic. It is a relevant conversation. So that's why this woman looks, clearly I chose a picture where she looks engaged because she wants to find out more. 11 is seclude, and I underlined clude, which means shut. The root means shut. And so to seclude is to basically shut yourself off from others. Temporarily, some people seclude themselves for longer periods of time. It doesn't necessarily mean you're shut up in a physical space, but more that you are removed or shut off from other people. So it's a verb and it means to place, keep, or withdraw from the companionship or company of others. So to seclude yourself is really just to separate yourself from others. And maybe you just want to seclude yourself so you can walk through the woods and ponder something that's been irking you or something that's been really on your mind, or just kind of, you need some time, some space to really work something out. So you want to seclude yourself. And some people just, they like to be alone. They like their alone time. They like to be in seclusion, which is another form of the word. 12 is suggestive, and suggestive describes anything that stimulates thought or reflection. So as we're working on our essays and I'm going through and giving you lots of feedback on your Google Doc, these suggestions, these comments are meant to be suggestive, to stimulate you to deepen your analysis, to go further with your explanations, to add depth. So, sometimes when people turn in essays, they're almost suggestive of my thoughts and my ideas as a teacher, because I've been giving you all of this comments as you work. Clearly this person has some great ideas that he's going to be acting on. And so suggestive is just anything that stimulates thought, stimulates reflection. 13 is treachery, and really a good synonym for treachery is betrayal, because it's a noun and it's a violation of an allegiance, some confidence, or some common faith in something. And so a violation is to go against. So if you have an understanding with people, if you have pledged your allegiance to them and you break that, it is considered treachery. And so just to put this in the context of high school, think of the movie Mean Girls, and you have this group of people that are around you that you're supposed to be, able to trust, you're supposed to have confidence in, and when they turn around and tell, other people things about you or gossip or whatever, that might be considered kind of a teen form of treachery. 14 is voracious, and someone who is voracious or is described as voracious, because it's an adjective, eats with greediness or in large quantities. And literally, you can have a voracious appetite where you really do, or you're just hungry a lot, you eat a lot, you eat large quantities. I also hear this word used a lot to describe having a voracious appetite for life or for things that are not literally food. So you can have this, like I said, voracious appetite for something that isn't so literal as food. But just to make it kind of easy to remember, I connected it with the image of this. Literally, it's a hot dog eating contest, and somebody who could win at one of these has to eat just an enormous amount of hot dogs. So you could make the argument that they have a voracious appetite, right? They have to eat with greediness and in large quantities. So think hot dog eating contest, but know that you can have voracious appetite for all kinds of things. Some people are voracious readers. The last word is fanatic, and someone who is a fanatic is called fanatical. But a fanatic is a person with an extreme or unusual amount of enthusiasm for a topic. Especially politics and religion tend to get people really kind of fanatical, where there's the very extreme and very enthusiastic about their political stance or their religious beliefs. I tend to think of fanatics when I think of sporting events. So I'm a big Washington Redskins fan, and whenever I watch the Redskins play football, I am amazed by some of the fanatical fans in the arena. There are literally, it can be pouring rain, it can be snowing, and there are men with no shirts on. Their bodies are painted the Redskins color, and they're screaming and shouting and, all dressed up crazy. There's also a group of men that dress up as, they almost look like pigs in drag. And they go to this, all the Washington Redskins games, and they're called the Pig Pen, and they're definitely fanatical fans to go to that extreme for their team.